successful than the other?
Well, I don't think it's true. I wish it were true that we are all created equal. I'm not talking about race here. I'm talking about
Mentally?
brains, intelligence.
Yeah.
And I just don't think we are all created equal. I think God made a mistake, actually. People engage you in conversation, and then suddenly you realize they want something.
Okay.
So, and it's very sad. We tend to get very suspicious.
Oh.
But that's.
But we can't be living life like that. We're social creatures, right? Why do you think some people are more successful than the other?
Well, I don't think it's true. I wish it were true that we are all created equal. I'm not talking about race here. I'm talking about
mentally?
Brains, intelligence.
Yeah.
And I just don't think we are all created equal. I think God made a mistake, actually. I, for instance, could never be a scientist or a mathematician. I'm a musician. And sadly, some of us have lower intelligence than others. Some of us have very high IQs, and that's what makes it work in terms of a career. That's one of the things. The other thing is that there are some people who don't have the ability to. I think we are the authors of our own story.
Stories.
People don't have the courage to take a risk, to do something to further themselves, and that's from all kinds of reasons. I'm from England, long before your father was born, and I got an opportunity, which was a risk, but I took it and professionally and became successful. But it was a risk, and some people don't seem to have the ability to take risk. It's also a question of recognizing an opportunity when it arises and seizing it. Some people, they don't get it,
So
or they don't
talking
want
about risk taking, right? At what percentage can you assess the risk that you're gonna be like, okay, I go for it? Because sometimes they say you have to look before you jump or before you leap, or you just.
I wouldn't be able to define it in percentages.
Okay.
This was a job I was offered, and it was with a company that was quite distinguished. But it was, for me, it was a change of culture because I was brought up in London. In England. And so that was the risk, but of my own happiness.
Wow.
And it turned out it was very difficult for a while. And then it turned out, too long a story to tell you now. I worked from someone who was very, very difficult. Very difficult. But I understood him, and he knew I understood him, and I could deal with him. And I was good at the things that he was bad at.
Wow.
And he respected that, but he was difficult.
Wow.
And I worked with him for years, and then he retired, and I took over, and then he died. So,
Was it hard for you to deal with Americans when you first came?
Was it hard to deal with?
Yeah, to deal with people in America.
Well, Americans are very different. Americans have wonderful qualities. The British tend to be a little bit
conservative, like
and snooty, and oh really? You know,
Yeah.
whereas if you tell an American, as I did, what my career was, an American would say, "Are you serious?
Yep.
You? Oh my goodness! Am I glad to meet you?" You know, that would be American. But a British would say, "Oh really? Okay." You know, it's different.
Wow.
You know, sensibility really.
Wow.
Yeah. So there we are.
But what can you say the difference between Americans and British? Very obvious one to you.
Well, I think the American dream, whilst it's been damaged.
I was about to say, is that true? Like,
Yes, it's been damaged.
Okay.
But the British, I resent the British class system.
Oh, okay, okay.
Very much so. I think that is proliferate. That is, as long as we have a monarchy and a royal family,
Yeah.
you're going to have a class system.
It's so funny. I thought about it one time because I was watching Charles and the family. I'm like, what a privilege to be born by the queen. For the rest of your life, you just gonna do whatever you want.
Yeah, well,
You're gonna be rich.
except to be in the spotlight like that. I mean,
Some people like it.
well,
Could it be tiring sometimes? Like, you just like you can't do it
well,
no
you
more.
can't live a normal life. Your children can't live a normal life. You're in the press every day of your life. I mean, it's okay. You have plenty of money and you have servants and luxury, but is it worth it? I wouldn't want it.
Really?
But
The other guy, I can't remember the one that got married to American. You remember his name?
Harry, Prince
Yeah,
Harry.
he's just a part of the monarch.
Well, he's the son of the King of England.
Yeah, but I was told there was a time I read on the news that it said I don't want to say they kick him out for marrying somebody else.
No, they didn't. But I'll bet you that a bit of racism came through them.
Though.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's vanishing, but with the senior generation and others, there's still some racism in the UK. Actually, in a way, more than there is here, I guess. But then, could I justify that statement? I'm not sure I could. Racism. I hate racism.
But I say this. I'm just trying to be honest with you. 'Cause sometimes it's very hard if somebody's not part of your home to, because is it that you being too nice or you being too cautious? If somebody's not part of your race or part of your, and it's just give everybody equal opportunity. But
well, that's true.
It takes time for you to know, like,
That's
okay,
right.
this
The
guy is
problem
good.
we have with racism today is that the African Americans
Yeah.
have not been given the education opportunities, and so they are less skilled, have less knowledge, so they don't get good jobs, so they live on welfare because they have no alternative. And that's a problem, and it's never going to change in my generation until that is dealt with, and that the African, particularly African Americans, get equal opportunity in child education.
Child education.
But it's a very difficult. It's very difficult.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. So what makes you happy?
You mean why am I happy or what?
What makes you happy?
Friends, close friends,
Yeah.
music,
Okay.
nature. I think they are normal things to make one happy. But
You play instrument?
I did. I used to play the piano and the violin, but I used to run an opera company, a famous opera company, festival. I'm retired now.
So what does it take for somebody to have his own company, to run his own company? Like, do you need extra knowledge, like wisdom?
Well, I went to university in London, studied music, but I didn't want to teach, so I went into administration and got this job offer and took it. So I mean, I had to obviously, because of the work I did, I needed a musical background, which I had. But I think it takes perseverance and commitment. I think there's not as much commitment. I find that people, especially young people nowadays, they don't want to pay their dues. They want to be famous tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, without rolling their sleeves up. You know, I mean, in my company, this was.
So what do you look for when you see you work with musicians, right?
Did.
So what do you look for to see that this person is going to
commitment to adaptability? And I have a real dislike of people who say, "Oh, that's not on my work. That's not my work." What do you call it?
I'm trying to look for what they say. That's not my job.
Job description. It's not in my job description.
Yeah.
When I first went to work for that company, oh my God, we had people flying in for the season, and I would go and help make beds.
Like
my friends who and I was
like, you give me too much.
Even when I was the head of the company, she was a friend of mine. She'd say, "Look, I'm in trouble. I've got somebody coming at 6 o'clock tonight. Can you help me make some beds?" Sure.
Wow.
Get into the car and help make beds. We still laugh about it. She's my age. She's still living there.
Wow.
She's retired too, and we laugh about what we used to do.
Wow,
you know?
That's really cool.
We used to just roll our sleeves up and do what had to be done.
You know what they say about that? They say for you to have more, you have to do more.
What you put into it.
Yeah.
You know, but a lot of people are unhappy, and you know, people want to acquire things.
Yeah.
All very material. I'm not material anymore. I want my health.
Yeah.
My friends.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You look pretty good. I don't know your age, but like you look pretty good for your age.
I'm 81.
No.
I'm 81.
81?
I was born in 1942.
You older than my dad.
Told you that, didn't I? But I work out. I lifted 110 pounds on the bench press this morning.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I'm in good shape.
No, you're really in good shape.
Yeah. Anyway.
Even mentally?
I do the New York Times word game every day of my life. You know, you got to give you a bunch of words, and you make other words out of it, and I win it every day.
Wow.
I've enjoyed talking to you.
You look, Warren Buffett, right?
Yeah. And
when he was 81, you look younger than him.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
he's still working at 91. Hopefully, you're still working at 91 too. This is really cool. I can't believe you're 81.
I'm 81.
I can't believe.